That's right. Get used to these higher prices because they're going to be here for a while. You're paying the highest price jumps in 40 years in December. So consumer prices, as you mentioned, rising 7% last month. And that is the highest year-over-year increase since the summer of 1982, with prices rising almost twice as much as wages were last month. So there's still sticker shock when you go to the grocery stores. Food prices were up 6%. Filling up your gas tanks costs a lot more than it did a year ago, and used cars are still fetching premium pricing. Now, despite the inflation report, the White House is sticking to their promises of easing prices this year. The president saying in this statement that this report really underscores that we still have more work to do, with price increases still too high and squeezing family budgets. Now, despite the White House trying to calm household concerns, our latest Fox Business poll shows that more than a third of Americans are worried about higher prices. In fact, it's the overwhelming top issue for respondents, who say it's a #1 issue affecting the economy right now. Government spending, income inequality, and supply chain issues came way behind in this list. Also, inflation is forcing the Federal Reserve to take action. Wall Street now forecasting 3 interest rate increases this year. But the latest data, also from the central bank, showed that economic growth moderated, slowed down in the final 3 months of last year. So as you see, Charles, it's really a tough balancing act for Jerome Powell and the central bank right now.
Absolutely. Susan, stay with us. I want to bring in market watcher Kenny Polcari.
Well, I'll tell you this, because if Jay Powell had his way at the Federal Reserve, he probably doesn't want to be raising interest rates, and definitely not 3 times this year, which is anticipated by Wall Street. You still have 4 million less jobs now than you did before the pandemic. Now, you brought up 1982, Charles. I will say this, because stock markets tend to price out what happens in 6 to 9 months. And back in 1982, you had a pretty strong stock market despite rising rates. And you've seen that 5 out of the 6 times, and the 6 times that we've seen rates go up. So some are anticipating, look, 3 interest rate increases, pretty much what we expected this year, and that's why you saw stock markets aren't really moving in reaction to the inflation numbers.
Kenny?
Well, I got to jump in there because I was actually 20 years old on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange in August of 1982.
Well, I wasn't around back then, okay, Kenny? That was too long ago for me.
But so I'm putting myself out there, telling everyone I'm 60 years old, yes, but I was 20 when it happened. And the Dow was trading at 792 on the day that Paul Volcker, Tuesday, August 17th, 1982, the day that Paul Volcker came out and made that announcement when interest rates were 21%, and they came out to break the back of unemployment, break the back of inflation, break the back of the economy, and they reduced rates by 10 percentage points, 10%, which was 2 percentage points. It was a massive move, which was the birth of the greatest bull market that we saw on Tuesday, August 17th. And that was the beginning of then what we saw, this 25-year raging bull market, which is the greatest place to be. But prior to that date, the market was kind of struggling.
Susan, I got 30 seconds, but there's also this wealth effect that includes a housing boom and other things. So the Fed does have to walk a delicate balancing act, don't they?
Absolutely. As you mentioned, we talked about record prices for homes. Now, I would say that sales are moderating because there isn't the right priced supply out there. But, you know, there's still a lot of jobs around. We talked about 11 million job openings, the quits rate. You don't quit in a bad economy. So that's the good part for consumers and Americans out there.
Yeah. Well, here's the good news, too. Back then, the #1 song was, at least we'll get some good music out of this thing.
Was that Michael Jackson?